Hi everyone, I'm Kim and this is my Crafty Chaos Emporium. If you are new and trying out my channel for the first time, go you. Thanks for coming along. If you are coming back again after last week's disaster, good on you. Thank you for giving me another shot because last week was just abysmal and it is brave of you to try it out again. So today is Friday. It is around about midday, almost midday. I'm getting ready for a market this afternoon. It is my very first evening market and it is my very first semi-indoors market. I think it's in an outside undercover area, not completely sure. It's a free market. So you'll never guess what today's video is about. Go on, guess. I bet you can't. Yeah, it's market prep. It's another market prep video. This is number 8 out of 10, I think. Don't quote me on that because I haven't looked at my calendar and I can't be bothered right now. I think last week's disaster was number 7 out of 10. So this one's 8. Oh, yes, and then 9 and 10 are double barrel next weekend. So I'm dog sitting Friday night, market Saturday morning, market Saturday night. And then that should be it for the year, unless I decide that I'm going to try another market closer to Christmas, but I don't think so. I don't have another market this weekend, and I was thinking of looking for one tomorrow, which is Saturday, but it's supposed to be 40 degrees, and so hell no. It's not worth it because the last time I did a market in that heat ended badly for both me and my car. But yeah, no. I think I'm going to take a weekend off and probably get to work on some Christmas presents that I want to actually make for people. And no, Victoria, I'm not making you a green bag. So what's happened today? I just want to give you a little bit of a catch up on this week. So if you are not interested in just a little bit of a personal life catch up, knock yourself out, fast forward. I'm okay with that. Bear in mind, though, that the algorithm likes you to stay 10 minutes at least. So, you know, you could mute me, I guess, but then that doesn't count for viewing either because the algorithm knows all. Anyway, just a really quick one. Last weekend was a disaster market. If you haven't seen the video, go back and have a look at the video. I'm not going to apologise for being a misery guts because it was a really shitty day, followed by a very, very difficult week for me. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a big deal. It was a matter of putting in an application for a job at work, which was a relieving position because someone's leaving, so someone is stepping up, and so that position was becoming available. And it's something that I always wanted to do, was to work with the particular person that would be taking over the top job. And so I put in the application and completely honestly, not bothered either way if I got the job or if I didn't. So I didn't get it. I wasn't heartbroken. Absolutely not heartbroken. But the anxiety that week of just saying, okay, the application went in this day. So when are they going to call? What are they going to, and it's just waiting, which I'm really shit at. I am an instant gratification person. I'm not a delayed gratification person. So having to wait the whole week to find out, even if the answer was no, thank you very much, then yeah, that was tricky. So the application went in Tuesday, waited all week, waited over the weekend, and then Monday around lunchtime, boss called me in and said, thank you, but unfortunately someone else has got that. And I'm like, fine, happy that you've got the position yourself, really looking forward to what's going to change next year, really looking forward to that. So that's all out of the way. And I'm actually feeling a little relieved that I didn't get it. Not only because it would have meant working 5 days a week instead of 4, which I was perfectly okay with, to actually take the position and work with this person. But I do love my Fridays. And so, I'm not sorry about that aspect. I don't know, after how I felt up in the brain department last week over simple things, I'm not sure that I would have been in the right mental space to actually do that job, because it would have been a lot of dealing with very, very high level behaviours, mid-range behaviours, angry parents, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I would have done it. I know I would have done it well, but somebody would have done it better. And I'm okay with that the person who's doing it is much calmer and much more level than I am. And yeah, just has one of those nice teacher voices. And I'm a little bit more reactive than I should be. So anyway, personal reflection aside, didn't get the job. That's all over with. We've got it 2 weeks. Litza, Victoria, Jenny, we've got 2 weeks left. We're all working in the education department, and we've got 2 weeks left before our big holiday. So we can do it, guys. We got this. So this week has been rather pleasant, apart from, you know, your average run-of-the-mill assholery from people at work this week. It's still not legal to people in the face. Not that I would, but I would do it in my mind a lot, because people can be, you know, humans, you know, and me. I don't like humans at the best of times. So, yeah. Anyway, it's been a pretty good week. It's stinking hot today. I just went to the supermarket, 10-minute drive home, not even, maybe a 5-minute drive home, and stuff was melted. So it's a stinker today. The market starts, I'm going to get there at 3. Setup is got to be done by 5, and then I think it runs like 5 till 8, 5 till 8:30. I don't know. They'll tell me when to pack up. I'll just rock up and do my thing. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for me because it's indoors. They're giving us the tables. I don't know what size the tables are. I don't know. I mean, Victoria showed me photos from when she did it before, but I don't know what it's going to look like, and so I don't know how I'm going to set up. And again, if you've been around for a while, you know that throws me. I give me my gazebo, give me my tables, and I'm pretty much okay. I've even got a system set up depending on whether Victoria's on my left or right. I know which way I'm going to set things up. But yeah, there's no gazebo, so I'm not going to be able to hang my jellyfish. I'm not going to be able to hang my pictuses. I'm not going to be able to put my fancy chunks in their racks. I'm just going to be relying on my fold open shelves. So I've put a couple of other stacking shelves in just in case, but I'm assuming, again, I don't know what they're giving me. You don't take your own tables for this one. So it could be anything. So I figured it's not going to take me 2 hours to set up, given that I don't have a gazebo and tables to set up, but it's probably going to take me a while to dither and to work out where I want to put things and what they're going to look like. I don't even know if my normal tablecloths are going to fit. So I've dragged out my bag of, before I had the stretchy hook around tablecloths, I used bed sheets. I had white bed sheets, and then I had from the sewing basket, I got some nice mauve coloured fabric that I used as like a table runner. So I've got those out. I'm going to give them a bit of an iron so that they look okay. And here's me pointing to another room. So I'm just going to iron everything, make sure it looks okay. And then we'll see what happens when we get there, I guess. Anything could happen. So I'll try and show you as much as I can. I just feel, I wouldn't say anxious, but I just I worry at things until I know exactly what's going on. So Victoria sent me a photo of the site, a Google Maps photo of the site, and arrows to say where I'm going, because then that's one less thing that I've got to think about. But now I don't know what the inside looks like, and I don't know what tables I'm getting. And anyway, it'll be fun. Indoors, nighttime like a grown-up. I don't know what it's going to be like as far as crowds go. Like I said, it's free, and it's just a donation. So we just have to give them a donation for a raffle. So let's start there. I took this yarn to work. I took my hook, and I'm really, really good at this. I said once before, because I know that Jenny at In My Spare Time Crochet said that she took her crochet to work to do at lunchtime, and I thought, I can't trust myself to only do it at lunchtime. But I do. I take it, I put it in my bag. When I do take a break, I do my crochet. When the break is over, I put it back in the bag and I ignore it. So I've been very successful with that. So I took this yarn, it's the blue glitter yarn from Spotlight, and I whipped up a quick loaf cat. As usual, I like it, and there's a but. In hindsight, I did the ears a little wonkulated, so they do tend to both curve the same way, but with a little bit of convincing, they sit up okay. So this is just your standard loaf cat, nothing fancy. They said $20 donation, so I would normally stock that in my 18s, and so they can have that. Starting with the keyring restock, because I got smashed a couple of weeks ago with 11 keyrings being sold a couple the week before, and I haven't actually done a restock of keyrings. So I did some freehand, and wait for it, guess who actually bought some patterns with my very own money? I bought someone else's patterns. I don't do that very often, but I figured with those sales I might pick up something interesting, and I kind of did. So let's have a quick look. I had some really dodgy yarn, and I thought, yep, I'm just going to make some bees, because bees go really good, especially the black and yellow ones. So I made these little bitty bees, just made a cylinder. Nothing fancy at all. They're made out of, it's it's a chenille, but I'd say it's a really velvety chenille, but it comes out nice and smooth. So they are a teeny tiny freehand bee with little teeny tiny freehand bee wings on a keyring. So I made like 5 of those, all before I went to school one morning. Not batch making, but binge making, because it was so quick. So I had a really nice smooth hook, really nice smooth yarn, and bammo, they came out really fast. So yeah, loving that. I'll be looking for more of that yarn for a quick make. More on quick makes and keyrings a little bit later. Now, this morning I made 3 of these, again freehand, and I haven't put the keyrings on them yet. These are just little bear heads. Really super duper simple little bear heads. So I've got 3 of those, just got to put a keyring on top. Again, more on those later if I remember. I say that and then I forget. What else did I do? I wanted to get rid of some of these googly eyes. So these are the ones that you get that have the little ring and you put them on your finger. They don't go well. I do them on frogs and octopuses in mystery bags because they don't go on the shelf. But I figured I would just whip up some little froggy head keyrings, because I figured people actually like that bear. Where is it? That bear, people buy those when they're on keyrings. They're happy with those. So I figured if they're okay with a bear head with no body, they might be okay with a frog head. So I just made some of these little guys. Just the little froggy heads. And again, I love these because you can just do a little bit of, kids can play with those, and they make a noise as well. So just got to put a little keyring thing in those and they're ready to go. I made 2 of those. So one is this is a really good scrap buster, because this was just like a couple of meters, not much at all. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 meters, if that. And then this, and so that was just like a chenille, but a very matte kind of chenille. This one is a bit more of a velvet. I have a feeling this might be the Spotlight Polar chenille. So yeah, so I made 2 froggos. And then this is one of the velvet yarns from Spotlight, and I can't remember what I was making. It may have been a small loaf cat, but I ran out, and about a week ago, I didn't run out of the yarn, but the piece I was using ran out, and I was too lazy to walk the few meters in here to get some more. So that was sitting on my coffee table for a while. So what I did was I put some little purple eyes in the top, put a little wonky monster mouth on it, and I'm just going to put a keychain on there, and somebody can have a little purple monster thing with the eyes on it. It's nothing fancy, but I like it. Look at the yarn and look at the eyes. Look at those little purple eyes. So there was that. They were all free-handed. I also, from the depths of my mess, because I did, as I said last weekend, to de-stress, I wound about 15 big balls. And when I say big balls, I'm talking about yarn, but like big ones that we get from the mill ends, and also the ones that we get from just Spotlight, the Motiveras, but they're all about this big. So that's like about a 300 and something gram ball of Mysticals, that one. I don't know if it's Mysticals. Anyway, it's a burnout something. So about 15 of those all rolled up into nice tight little balls, because I do enjoy that. I like the way they store. I like the way they roll around when I'm working with them. Anyway, so as I was cleaning up all my yarn, winding it all up, I found some half-made nuggets. So I've got a couple of little nugget keyrings as well. Long story short, found nuggets. So there's a couple of new nuggets going in, and they're usually quite popular as well. And then I used a pattern. I actually used a pattern because I had some yellow and I wanted to do a little duck. And so this is a pattern from the Instagrams, a free pattern called a 12-minute mini duck. And it's by When Crafty Penguins Fly, which is a little bit like When Doves Cry, I think. But anyway, it's just a little 12-minute duck. And I'm realising now I've got a ring light. If you weren't here last week, look at that. I got a ring light. Yeah, so there's a little 12-minute duck. Okay. Look, I don't know that I'll make another one of those. It's a little bit bigger than I'd like. It's not the shape that I'd like. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. I just think that the yarn that I chose for that pattern was a little too chunky to give it the really good definition that it needs. It was a great little pattern. So that was When Crafty Penguins Fly. Free pattern. For me, it was not a 12-minute duck. All those people who say, oh, this is a really quick 10-minute keyring and this is a really quick 15-minute keyring. No, they're not. No, they're not. They might be for you. They might be for me if I used a velvet and a really fast hook, but generally no. So then I bought another okay, so here's what I do. When I buy a pattern, it's because You know, everybody's making it, and I thought, okay, fine, I'll cave in and buy it, but I very rarely do that. When I go on to Etsy, what I tend to do is to search crochet patterns, and then I list them, I sort them by lowest price first, because many reasons. I like to see the stuff that's not used very often. I like to support people that might be starting out or people who aren't getting many sales. And also because I don't like spending a lot of money because I want to retire one day. Yeah, I just like to look for something different. And I have discovered that at the bottom end of the crochet pattern pool is some really crappy stuff. It's all the AI things, and yeah, it's not very good. But anyway, I dug and these things ended up being not really at the bottom, but also not at the top. So this is this one is a little horse, and it's kind of cute. And so I'm imagining it can be like normal horse colors, but then you could just easily make that into a little unicorn, or even just a multicolored little pony, you know, like a white pony with the colored bits. And great scrap buster, because look how tiny it is. Those are just 4 stitch bobbles, so it's really quite small. So that is a pattern that is called Little Horse, and it's by Crochet Lovely Crochet on Etsy. Now, it is an easy pattern. It is an absolutely easy pattern. Comes out nice. Yeah, I think I did okay. My stitch count might have been 1 or 2 off, but you know what, me and stitch counts. One thing though, if you do look this pattern up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the pattern into my notebook, because this, I don't want to show you too much, but this is just what the pattern actually looks like. So it's a bit tricky to read. There's a lot of extra notes in there. So for this screen, that's for one row, and where this blue highlighter is, that's the row. The rest of that is just information. So I found that a bit tricky to sift through, but now that I know, I'm probably just going to condense that pattern myself, and then if I get confused, I can go back. There's lots of pictures. There's loads of pictures. There's loads of pictures in this, and then there's also the ones from the testicle at the back there you can have a look at too. Lots of different colours, lots of possibilities, and that was really, really cheap. So Crochet Lovely Crochet on Etsy, well worth it if you're looking for some little quick makes for key rings. I think because that was in a quite small yarn, and I used a 4.5 hook for that, maybe even a 4. If you did that in a bigger yarn with a bigger hook, then it would come out bigger. So if you don't want keychain things or bag tags or whatever they're called, bag charms, yeah, then you might want to look into trying that pattern with something a little bit bigger. I love the fact that there's bobbles. It was no sew except for just putting that stitch around to make the bridle. Otherwise, yeah, that was a cute little pattern. I bought another pattern. Actually bought a couple of patterns this week. This is Neil the Seal. Neil the Seal. Neil the Seal I found on the Etsy, and that one is by Die Hard Designs, as in Bruce Willis Christmas movie, don't argue with me. Die Hard Designs on Etsy, and Neil the Seal. Now, nothing wrong with the pattern at all. Great pattern. Absolutely loved it. So I've got no complaints. My complaints lie in my choices. So this yarn is an old Motivera called Wisp. It's a thin, like a 4 millimeter hook thin. You know, like kind of like this sort of thin. Okay, and it has a sparkle in it, which I'm going to put my glasses on. I know they're reflecting, but I just want to see. I don't think you might just be able to see the sparkle in it. It's got like a plasticky clear sparkle in there. Can you? There you go. You can see that a bit better. So yeah. Now, normally what I do with that yarn is one strand of that, one strand of something soft like a chenille or a velvet or whatever. This time I double stranded that. That was a mistake, because this is a little bit like a scouring pad now. If you would look at this and you'd think, oh, baby seal, so soft and squishy. No, you wouldn't want to put that on your face unless you were trying to exfoliate. Somebody might love it. It's not me, but somebody might. It's cute as heck. It's cute. Look at those little, like, look at that. Look at that shaped belly, and look at that little face. Look at that little face. So, yeah, Neil the Seal. by Die Hard Designs on the Etsy. Great little pattern. Just be a little bit more aware with your yarn, what you're going to do. I will not double strand that yarn again, lesson learned. So we'll see how that goes before I make some more of them. Now, I do have an aversion to many things, particularly alliteration in crochet titles. For example, no criticism because no, it's me. There's nothing wrong with alliterating like Neil the Seal and, whatever, I guess, like Doug the Duck or whatever you want. It's not Doug the Duck, but you know what I mean. I don't like that, and I will not do that in my patterns. If you like alliterated patterns, that's great. I know everybody does. I'm a fussy cow and I don't. It bugs me because lots of things just bug me. Welcome to life post-menopause. I don't know if anyone has seen that little video on Instagram or TikTok where the lady is showing all the things that bug her about menopause, and that she opens the door and it squeaks and she tells the door what she thinks of it because it's annoying. Yeah, that's me. Anyway, I don't like alliterated titles of patterns. So here's me buying Neil the Seal and working on Tilly the Triceratops. This is a free pattern. I have it saved in my Instagram patterns, but then when I went to actually use it, it links you to their website, and their website is Tilly the Triceratops by pinktomatocrochet.shop. So that's the website, pinktomatocrochet.shop. Tilly the Triceratops was super duper easy. Great little pattern. So that big, how big would that be? I'm guessing probably close to 20 centimeters. Great pattern, really good shape, no issues with it. The only issues were my own, again, because this yarn, I'm going to throw it in the bin. I don't like it. It's a velvet, but it's one of those squeaky velvets that does not slide on the hook. I don't, it crumbles. You know the word. It's not. I know it's not crumbles, but I can't think of the word right now. Sheds. Tilly is great. As you make it, you're supposed to do these coloured bobbles in line as you go, and do the feet bobbles as you go. But because me and stitch counts, I could not be bothered. I didn't want to try and work out if I was getting everything centered. So I made the body. I went back, I put the eyes in at the right time because I figured, well, the eyes are in. I don't want to try and battle to get them in because you do this all in one piece. So I actually went back after I'd done it. You put the whatever that part's called on, and they call it the frill in the pattern. So I put the frill on, and then after everything was made, I went back and I did those, and I did the feet bobbles as well separately. I regret that because it made extra time, and I think it was also because that yarn was hideous. It was really not sticky, but you know when you wash dishes or wash your hair and it does that squeak and your fingers kind of stick. Yeah, so it's like that. It's not a nice yarn. I don't know. I got it at the sewing basket, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I won't buy any more of that, no matter how much my brain tells me I have to have it. So there's a little purple Tilly the Triceratops from pinktomatocrochet.shop, assuming Pink Tomato Crochet on Instagram as well. Great little pattern. Any issues were my own and mostly stitch count related. Yeah, me and stitch counts, huh? So what else did I make? I have one more thing. I have two. I need some opinions now. This is not market related, although I am taking one of these things to markets. I made two things and I do need your opinions on those. Now, this is a whale. This is a whale. Doesn't have a name. If it did, it would not start with a W. This is a whale, and it's a freehand whale. Now, I did send this whale a picture to say, hey, I made a whale, and I was told, suggested, you need to write the pattern up, which, thank you for the compliment. But here's my thing. I know darn well that when I go to Google whale crochet patterns, there are a bazillion patterns that look like this. Like there are lots, a literal bazillion. That's a measurement of excessive crochet patterns. So I'm reluctant because I don't feel it's original enough. This is where your opinion comes in, because okay, it was Tracy. Tracy always tells me to make patterns, and I hope she doesn't think I'm mad at her. I'm not mad at you, Tracy. I, I'm snowed under by patterns and pattern ideas. So here's the whale. What I did was, I like the like big fat cat, big fat pig. I like that shape. It appeals to me. I like the whales, and I just like the whales. And I hate using patterns because I like to just crochet things. I don't like to sit and read and count and all of that sort of thing, because, if I make up my own stuff, it doesn't matter what the stitch count is. So I made this one. I tried a couple of tails, wasn't happy with them. So then I ended up looking at photos of whale tails, and I just ended up copying those and creating my own whale tail. This tail is quite heavy. So this whale, when you put it down, does not sit like I wanted it to. It sits like that, and I don't hate that necessarily. So here's where I need your help. Should I make the tail lighter so that it sits like this, or is it okay? Let me use my iPad. So this is how it sits naturally. I was hoping it would sit like this, but now I look at that, the tail's too high for that anyway. So would you be cool with that? All right. Second thing is it original enough that I could write up a pattern and have a big fat whale pattern? So your thoughts, please. It was really, really simple. So writing up the pattern would not be an issue at all. I feel that on Google there are so many whales that look like this that there wouldn't be much call for it. And I know it doesn't take much work or anything, but it does cost money to list things on Etsy. So anyway, your thoughts, please. Is that whale okay as it is? I do like the tail, but the tail's very heavy. So rather than going in the round and having, a 3D kind of thing, I might just do a flat like the tail, like the flappers. So let me know what you think of big fat whale, and whether there is a need for a pattern or not. Either way, I may just write the pattern up and give it to Tracy anyway, because she liked the whale, and so did Chris. And, we all love Chris, so we don't want to disappoint Tracy and Chris. Okay, so opinions on big fat whale, please. The next thing. So my farm animals pattern that it's been up there, it's been behind me on the other shelf. And it was like, I'm pretty sure it was over 12 months ago that I made it. I don't know. This was the original. This is the OG. And I have, working title is Tall Tales. Tall Tales at the Farm, because then I thought I could also do Tall Tales at the zoo or Tall Tales at the aquarium. I don't know. Anyway, I just went with Tall Tales at the Farm. And so this is my chicken. And like I said last week, it was based on a chicken I've got on my balcony. It has a straight back and it has a curved front. So this one, all of my farm animals I've done with a straight back and an angled belly. The issue there is, because of that angle, it creates more weight at the back and they don't stand up. So, yeah, they don't stand up. And also, what this means for the pattern is that while the back is relatively simple, you do have to count to create the front, because you do have to shape that front. So it's not a matter of just look at the pattern and memorize and off you go. It's a different count all the way up. So trying to make things a little bit easier, here's what I did. Is I made a duck. And I've made two of these before in this pattern, and they've both sold at market straight away. And so I was saying last week that I was working on this one and hoping for a no count pattern. And that's what I've got here. The majority of this is a no count pattern. It's experimental. So as far as I'm eventually want to get these out there, because I like them, and duck, like I said, duck goes well. I haven't tried the other ones at market yet, because they're just like the prototypes for the pattern. So two different shapes. This one is just your normal cone shape. This one is the straight back angled front. What do you think? Could I go with just this one, which would make a much easier pattern? Much, much easier and quicker pattern. Let me know. So that's Tall Tales Duck. That's Tall Tales Chook, and I've also got the cow and the sheep. And yeah, I'm just after some feedback on this one that's more of a regular cone shape. And this one, because it's a regular cone shape, it actually sits up. So my idea also was that to put, like you could make a whole farm set, and then I thought I might make like a tumbleweed or I don't know, something else round, and then you could use it as like a soft Skittles game or, like a 10-pin bowling game. So yeah, anyway, let me know your thoughts on Tall Tales Duck as a regular cone or Tall Tales as I don't even know that this has a shape, straight back, conish front. Let me know what you think of those. So there is big fat whale question. There is Tall Tales Duck question. And that's it. That's my market prep. So I am about to go and iron all, housework, huh? I'm about to go in 40-degree heat and do some ironing because who's stupid? And I'm going to iron all that stuff, get it ready for markets. I'm not sure what time it is. I think it's around about 12 now, and I'm going to leave at 3. So I've got to have some lunch, pack some food because we're going to be there 5 through 8, and I don't want to have dinner when I get back home at like 9 or whatever. And finish making these key rings. I've got to still put some loopy loops on those. Oh, that was the other thing. I need some opinions, please, because I'm really ticked off. I bought these, these keychains. Can you see that there? These keychains. I bought these, and these ones did not come with the bigger jump ring to attach at the bottom here. They came with a separate jump ring that was just the crappiest little 5mm thing. I was so ticked off. Because the first batch I got were great. They were a really good quality ring. They had nice jump rings and they were really quite solid. These ones are crappy as. So I've got those, but then I've also got, where are we? I've also got these bead ones and with the plastic thingy. I'm after ideas, I guess, because like I don't mind if my thingies all look different, and I thought, I'll buy the gold ones. They might look a little bit classier if you can have a classy plushy key ring. I don't know, but I'm wondering if you know about the longevity of these ones, because these ones you can put through more of the yarn, so I know they're not going to pull too much. I don't know how these wear, so can I just have your opinions if you're familiar with this sort of thing, or if you've got kids with bag charms or whatever. What lasts better? Am I better off getting like these lobster claws and these bead things, or sticking with the other ones, or is there something even better? How do they look if they just have, are they okay to just have that part if people are going to use them as bag charms or whatever? And how do these things last? I don't know. My children are almost 40, so bag charms weren't a thing for them. Yeah, I just want to know before I go and buy some more. And if you've got a better idea than what I've got, I'm going to list all my other stuff on Marketplace and get rid of that and get some new stock. So yeah, please let me know what you think about that. Please let me know what you think about Big Fat Whale. Please let me know what you think about Tall Tales Cone-Shaped Duck. And I will catch you in a few hours. I will be at the markets, and I'm hoping I'll be able to, well, I feel like I'll be set up early, so I'll be able to have a little bit of a chat about something then. And I also have to pack something to make while I'm there. What will I pack? I don't know. Anyway, I will catch you very, very, very soon. Here we are at the new markets, and it's about 40 degrees and it is stinking hot, but we are undercover and we have lots of fans. I have one long table. Vic's got one long table. And Santa Claus is behind us, so we have to be good. And Victoria's going to be on the camera. Here's everybody else. It's just a small one. That was the tiny, tiny bit of footage that I got at the markets of my stall. There was really nothing else to film during the night. I did go and get some footage of other people's displays, but a couple of people objected to that, and so I deleted it. And I just got mine and Victoria's. And so it was not great. I don't think I would do it again. It was hot. I got there at 3 o'clock. It was super duper hot. It was about 40.5 Celsius. And for the imperially stubborn, it was about 105. It was undercover, but it was outdoors. So there were a lot of fans, but the fans were blowing hot air around. There was nothing to be done. We got lots of ice from the bar. We got some iced water, and I've never drunk so much water in my life. And it was basically dead. There were lots and lots of people at the club for dinner. There were lots of kids around because there was free Santa Claus photos. And let me interject here with another short video thanks to Victoria. First time ever, never had a Santa Claus photo before, so yeah, that was a little bit fun. Victoria got one too, but she went and sat down with Santa before I could get my camera ready, so sneaky. Anyway, that was a little bit of fun. Santa was really nice, poor guy. I mean, in that heat, the poor guy sitting there in his full Santa thing on that leather chair with kids smushed up next to him. Not leather chair, sorry, but that really thick velvet padded chair would have been so hot. And then all those kids next to him. So yeah, I didn't envy him at all. Obviously there were lots of fans, but still, like I said, we were outdoors and there's only so much you can cool down the outdoors, especially when you're wearing a full velvet suit. Anyway, yeah, it was 3 o'clock set up for a 5 o'clock start. People did not really wander around much. Towards dinner time, there were kids running. There were kids running everywhere. Our favourite thing. There were kids running everywhere. A lot of kids unsupervised. Kids touching everything. Victoria was very much on alert because, you know, if the kids spill her stuff, it's all beads. One kid did tip over my key rings box, and I did not help. Mum was there, so Mum picked up every last key ring. A few people, as I said, walked around after dinner, but it was, I'm not sure what the point was of being there. I did hear some other vendors say that they did okay, but, you know, we were sort of watching and didn't really see anyone doing okay. So I have a quick look at, I sold a few things and it didn't cost anything. And, you know, it was a nice looking club, I guess. I don't know if other countries have clubs. This was Panania Diggers Club. I wouldn't even know what you call them in other places. You become a member, you go in, they have a bar, they have a restaurant, they have a bistro, they have outdoor play areas for kids, they have they had a big screen with sports stuff on it, they had a DJ guy, they had an outdoor pizza thing, they do events for kids and events for adults, and I wouldn't know how else to describe it. But anyway, yeah, they had free Santa Claus, and then they had the stalls and a couple of food trucks. Maybe a jumping castle, I'm feeling that, but I'm not sure. There may have been a jumping castle, but I may be imagining it because it was hot and I may have been hallucinating. It was hot. It was super duper hot. Anyway, what did I sell? In 3 hours, I sold 3 key rings and the very first little wrist lanyard thing that I made. So basically 4 key rings. A pink and white loaf cat, a pink and white loaf cat, little kiwi fruit. So I'm sure I've shown it to you at some point. It's sort of a nugget colour on the outside, and I made an open mouth so it looks like a kiwi fruit inside. And a little girl came and bought it for her teacher for a Christmas gift, and I said, you know, that's a kiwi fruit. And she says, no. And I opened it up and showed her the mouth, and I said, is that okay that it's a kiwi fruit? And she's like, yeah. So, okay, she went home with a kiwi fruit. The kiwi fruit was from my mids. And then from my chunks, a pink drift made out of that variegated Indian, the one that's a little bit like this but green and purple, green and pink, and a green turtle. The green turtle went to a boy who came along and he sort of looked at everything and he spotted my big red dragon, the Ignis dragon from Adorably Cute Amigos, and he was like, how much is that? And I said, it's 50. And he's like, oh. And then he's like, how much is that? How much is that? And then he went away, obviously got some money, came back and got the turtle. Sorry, glasses. So yeah, that was, he came back and got the turtle, got the green one, and that's it. So 4 key rings, 1 pink loaf cat, kiwi fruit, a pink octopus, and a green turtle. And 2 of those went to a lady from work who I really feel needs an intervention, because I've said before, she buys my hedgehogs, she buys my drifts. Yeah, she needs an intervention. But anyway, so that came to a grand total of $27. When you consider that I don't have to take a stall out of that, it's not too bad. That was it. Nothing to really restock there, except for a green turtle, which I've already done. And I actually had this one started before the markets, and this one's a little bit funny, and it's actually kind of cute, and I think I might make some more of them. So I used this, the variegated green from the Velvet at Spotlight, and I like that, and I just sort of teamed that up with the other plain green. They're not exactly the same family of greens. These are very yellow greens. This is a very blue green, but I'm not fussed. And I'm going to put my glasses on, and it's going to reflect the ring light. Sorry, but I need to see what I'm talking about. It might be all right if I do that. So this little turtle, I did less decreases and more straight rounds than I normally do, because obviously I don't count, right? So it's turned out with that really straight edged shell. The head, I mentioned last week that I experimented with not just doing the round head and stitching it on, but having that little piece, like a little neck. So I've done that again. I'm actually quite happy with that, because I didn't do it as long. So instead of going for the final round where you decrease on every stitch, I stopped on the one before that and just did some straight single crochet for 2 rounds to make it like almost like a tiny, tiny tube. So that goes on underneath the shell once the body's all done. Then for the feet, because of the shape of this, I didn't want to do the normal turtle flippers. So I did some turtle feet, but then because I'd also made it really narrow, so I was going with like big fat pig feet, and they didn't really work. So what I did was I sealed them closed at the top end, and I've just sort of put them on. I don't know if you can tell. So they're flat, they've got a tiny, tiny bit of stuffing in them, and then I've just gone right through the center. So they're almost like a little donut shape. In fact, they're actually the pattern that I use out of my head for when I make little donut key rings, mini donut key rings. So it's just got these 4 little feet clustered on the bottom. They were too big to put on like big fat pig feet, so they're just like little discs. And I actually love it because they're really close together. And I hope you can see this as well as I can. But yeah, they're really close together. They're just sitting clustered under his little shell, his little happy face, and then he's got a little waggly tail there at the back. So I'm actually really liking that one. So I'm thinking I might write that up in my notes to self pattern book, where I just keep track of my market makes that I use my own pattern for, so that I can make them semi regular. Anyway, I think I will put him in as a pattern for a tortoise. So I really like him. He's cute. I love the way his feet cluster. I love the shape that his shell came out. And then while I was at markets, I had plenty of time to crochet, and I got most of this guy done, which is good because I did actually sell, no I didn't, I lie, I sold a drift out of this yarn. I already told you that. Anyway, that's some of that gorgeous mill end that I hope never runs out, but I know it will, sadly. I don't think I've got much left of that one. And then the body is just one of the old microfibers that I started with when I first started making toys. Yeah, and it's the bright purple, and I thought that would go really well with the purple up there. So that's just your normal garden variety turtle, free-handed, so that I don't have to actually do any counting, because can't be bothered. I stuck the eyes in on this one just to give it a little bit more shape around the face there. So that's it. I made that at the markets. I made the turtle on the Thursday morning before I went to work. I started it, and then I came home. I've been working on some Christmas gifts for people, mostly made out of cotton. And so when I was making those, I was using just my regular, there's just these regular grey metal hooks with nothing on the handles. And I had previously, that I used those makeup sponges on my brushes, makeup sponges on my hooks. I tried that with this, which I think is a 2.5. Yes, it's a 2.5 that I've been working with, and it just didn't feel right because I've been using Victoria's other hooks that have all the beads on the end. So what I did at the markets on Friday night, because Victoria was right next to me again, we actually had a corner. So they gave us these tables that were easily, I'd say 10 to 12 feet long. But they had us both on one table, and I in the emails to them, they'd said, how much space do you need? And I said 3 6-foot tables. So they gave us one 10-foot table to share. And I'm like, this is not going to work. And she said, oh, well, look, there's other spare tables. Just grab one. So I kept one long one for me and then put Victoria at the other side. So we were at the end, and she had a long straight table. I had a long straight table. It was a bit of a challenge. You can see that you saw that in the video anyway. But yeah, it was a bit of a challenge to try and fit everything. And I had to leave some stuff in my bag. So I didn't put out my pictuses. I didn't put out my earrings. I had to cramp a few things up just to try and make it fit, which is probably another reason I won't go back, because it took me as long to set that table up as it does to set up my gazebo and my tables and my normal display. But, you know, it wouldn't take me that long a second time because I already know how to do it. Anyway, back to where I was. While we were doing absolutely nothing at that market, I grabbed some beads off Victoria. So this is my 2.5, just a plain normal crochet hook under there, nothing fancy. And I put some beads on the end, and then I got that little octopus focal on it. So that is so much easier to hold. The thing I like about these is that I can actually put my thumb under there and sort of use that as a bit of leverage. And then I've also got the octopus in here. So that just helps with my grip because I have very painful hands. So that just makes life a little bit easier. So then because I've already got, so out of Victoria's hooks that she sells, I've got a 6 and a 5. And I had already beaded up my 4.5. I got I think this is my 4. Let me double check. Yep, that's my 4. So I got this one. I don't know, it's too bright. So there's a little Highland cow. Oh, it's on both sides. I just realized it doesn't have a back. Okay, so I got little Highland cow, and then I just matched up some colors on that one. And so that's my 4 ready to go. So now I've got a 2.5, a 4, a 4.5, a 5, and a 6 with the beads on it, and they feel great, and I don't use the sponges anymore. I said that I was going to put away all my yarn, and I did roll it into balls. I did some stress winding last weekend, and they're all, I'm just looking directly in front of me, they're all still sitting there on the spare couch. I've got nowhere to put them, so they're going to sit there until I use them. So again, still looking for suggestions for blue. I probably might make some more of the whale that I showed you earlier. But my next request is, I don't need anything for markets. I have more stock than I can possibly sell, and I cannot fit any more in the car. I've definitely not got any space up here where I can store any more stock. So if I don't have anything that I need to make, what do I make? What do I do with all this yarn? I've got all this yarn. Victoria suggested that this stuff might be nice to make beanies out of, little hats. So I might look into doing that for, put them away for winter. I don't know how they'll sell. I have had a previous market in another life where I made beanies, and they did not sell especially well. And they were cute as. They're all little monsters and animals and owls and frogs and things. Anyway, they didn't sell. So I might hit up Litza for some patterns or some advice. I think I already did and I forgot. But I might do some beanies out of that, depending. I don't know. But I've got nothing to make. Yeah, so maybe let me know about that. Let me know about the cone-shaped duck, potentially no count. Let me know about the whale, big fat whale, because if those are possibilities, then I might get the patterns done. Who knows? It was a decent week. Next week should be a decent week as well. Very, very big week at school because it's moving day for teachers who have to move classrooms, because that's a thing. You never know what class you're going to get, and thank goodness I'm not a classroom teacher at the moment, so I don't have to worry about that. Victoria may or may not have to move. We're working on it. Yeah, so big week at work, and then the week after that will be presentation days and the Year 6 farewell and the Year 6 farewell arch when they leave, because if you're in a different schooling system, our kids go from K to 6 for primary, and then they go from 7 to 12 to high school. So when they finish Year 6, that's a big deal. It's interesting, you can see how stressed those kids are now waiting for high school to come around. But yeah, so that's our next 2 weeks. It's a lot of fluffing around. I've still got a lot of work to do. And then it's holidays, and then what have we got? What's the time? I don't even know what date it is. It's early December, isn't it? So it's only a matter of weeks until Christmas is gone again. I don't enjoy Christmas. I'm happy that other people enjoy Christmas. I used to, and generally I enjoy when it's not Christmas. I find it a little distressing that it starts earlier and earlier each year. It doesn't work for me. But anyway, and for any of you that play Whamageddon, that's the one bit of Christmas that I will indulge in is Whamageddon. If you don't know what Whamageddon is, that's where you, starting on the 1st of December, you are trying to avoid hearing George Michael's Last Christmas song. I've made it the last 2 years through to Christmas Eve. This year I was out on the 2nd of December, so I usually post about that on Facebook. It's my only Christmas post ever, and usually my only Facebook post. But yeah, I was out of Whamageddon, so good luck to you if you're still in. Good luck to you if you start playing. So at this point, I think that people on Instagram and TikTok are just trolling us using that as their backing music. And good luck to you if you're on the internet and you're playing that game. Well, have a fabulous week. If you're a school-based person, good luck to you. We've got 2 weeks to go. I will see everybody next weekend at some point. So I'm dog sitting Friday night, market Saturday morning, market Saturday night, and then that's it. That's me done. 2 more markets to go out of my 10, and then we'll be at the end of the year. And I know one of those markets doesn't start back until mid-March. So that's a long break. I can only imagine how much stuff I will have. So if you've got any ideas for patterns that I can invent, let me know, because I'm going to have a lot of free time. Give me some feedback, please, about the duck and the whale, because then I can get onto those patterns, because I don't need to crochet anything urgent. So I'll see you back again next weekend. Have a great week. Bye.